Okay, so today I wanted to talk about Mariah Carey's Emancipation and Mimi, how special that this album is to her career and in the discography as a whole, because, the anniversary of this album just wrapped up, saw people talking about it on Twitter, and as you know, Mariah Carey is one of my favorite artists of all time, if you've seen anything on my profile. So I'm just trying to set the scene for why this album was so monumental. So basically, in the 90s, Mariah Carey was a juggernaut. She had 15 number one hits to her name, sold a lot of albums, Music Box, her best-selling album, Fantasy number one 8 weeks, Once a Weekday number one for 16 weeks. Like, she had huge songs. She was a juggernaut. I cannot stress that enough. I did a video on my main YouTube channel, Anastasia 25. I went through her entire 90s career and just described how successful she was and everything that she was going through. Okay, so we set the stage, and then Glitter didn't do the best for her. She was going through a lot with Tommy Mottola, the divorce. The new label was overworking her, and it was a lot. It was a lot, okay? And so people were like, oh, she's acting very erratic. People thought she went crazy and mental breakdown, and it was a lot of things. If you're a lamb, you know this was a very hard time for her. She went through a lot. The album flopped, basically. The Glitter film that she did flopped, and so it was tough. And then we have Charm Bracelet, which wasn't very warmly received either, okay? It underperformed for her standards. I think it still had over 200,000 copies first week for her, number 2 on Billboard 200, but Through the Rain basically stalled at number 81 on Billboard Hot 100, and so people really started to think Mariah's over because you're used to all these number ones from her. You're not seeing that as much anymore. People were saying all these things about her mental health. If you look at the reviews and everything like that during the Charm Bracelet era, they were ripping this girl apart. They were talking about there's not a moment her voice sounds strong and everything like that. Like, they were bombing her albums. I cannot stress it enough. The public reception of her was in the gutter. Okay, so that's setting everything up where we're at now. And so now we kind of get to the Emancipation of Mimi. I mean, this was the one that really got everyone back in good favor for her for the most part. So yeah, it was extremely important. And so with this album, they wanted to take their time to work on it, make sure everything was right. So they worked on it. She wanted to get a live band and everything and have that feel for this album. She did some songs. She presented it to L.A. Reid, which fuck L.A. Reid, but she presented to him. She was like, I think you should write more songs for the album. I think you should write more songs for the album. So then she goes to work with Jermaine Dupri, and we get stuff like We Belong Together, for example. She wrote a couple more songs for the album. Okay, so there's that. In terms of the singles, here are all the singles for the album, okay? So It's Like That was basically the fire starter for the album and everything like that. I think it peaked, number 30 or 16 on Billboard Hot 100, something like that. But everyone heard that, they were kind of feeling that a little bit. So that was kind of the fire starter for everything. We Belong Together, this is a huge, huge song for Mariah, okay? And that's a big part of why this era was so successful. So with this song was number one for 14 weeks, okay? And this song was so powerful in the fact that she released a song, Shake It Off, which I'll talk about, and she blocked herself from being number one because this song was such a juggernaut. They were playing it everywhere. Everyone loved the song, and yeah, it was just that song for her. I mean, number one, 14 weeks, people having to go out and buy the copies. You don't really see that, at least the same way nowadays. It's a lot different with streaming, but yeah, this one really put her back on the map and everything. And fun fact, she actually recorded this in one take because she wanted to show it to L.A. Reid. So this was really important for her. It's also worth noting that this was claimed the song of the decade by Billboard. So yeah, huge, huge song for her. Shake It Off was the next single. Like I said, blocked herself from number one. This was something that peaked at number 2. Great song. Love the video. I love her with the Mimi song behind it. I love the fashions during this era. And during this era, she is going okay. But yeah, great song. And these were the other singles. So I believe that Get Your Number was a moderate hit for her. She had Fly Like a Bird, which I believe was a promotional single she would perform at the Grammys, which we'll talk about. And she also did Say Something with Snoop Dogg. Crybaby was better, but we can't get into that today. So here's all the singles that kind of, led the way, no pun intended, for this era. In terms of sales, it became her highest selling album. So she sold over 400,000 copies the first week. I believe this is the best-selling album in the United States, at least, something like that. I think worldwide it's second to Coldplay. And what they said about her during that era was very distasteful. Not even gonna get into it. But yeah, this was a very successful album for her all over the world. Okay, highest-selling album since Daydream, which was released 10 years prior and everything. So this was a big deal. Also picked up some Grammys for it. Okay, so she got Best Contemporary R&B Album, as well as Best Female R&B Vocal Performance and Best R&B Song for We Belong Together. Should have won Album of the Year, should have won Song of the Year, and should have won Record of the Year, because it was one of those and they accidentally played We Belong Together. Okay, because y'all knew that song should win. Fuck the Grammys, because Mariah had way more of those, but she did get some awards, and yeah, she was awarded everywhere for this album, so you had that. And like I said, this Grammys performance is special. If you are on Mariah Carey, Lamb Twitter, you're gonna see this performance posted all the time, but she performed We Belong Together into Fly Like a Bird, and it was just great. It was just great, so you had that. Also, this photo, when I talk about she was glowing this era, I mean she was glowing during this era, okay? And she had the Adventures of Mimi tour, which was successful for her too. This was another photo I liked during this era I wanted to share. I also agree with this tweet. It says the look, the voice, the aura, 10 out of 10. Like, whenever she was talking about this era and everything like that, she's like, I'm not even worried about charts and everything because I did exactly what I needed to do, you know? And so this album, it kind of just felt like it was something that had solidified her legacy. Overall, I think that this was the album that had Mariah Carey certified as a legend, okay? I think just like this era, the looks that she was doing, like, you can tell that they put a lot of money into it, you know, good management. Like, look at this album cover. Looks like $1 million. Looks like $1 million, okay? And it was just her reclaiming everything. The emancipation of Mimi, okay? Like, I'm taking it back and everything like that. And Jermaine and others were telling her, like, you really have to go off singing on this album. Like, you really have to do what you do, because on Charm Bracelet, she got a lot of hate for the whisper singing and everything like that, despite the fact that, you know, on Through the Rain, she was going off. You had Subtle Invitation, which was a crazy vocal performance as well. So I kind of pushed back on that a little bit, because if you actually listen to the album, she has some great vocal performances. But on here, when you add stuff like We Belong Together, Stay the Night was a really great song on this album as well, where she's really showing off her chops. Circles, oh my god, what she did on there. I Wish You Knew, Your Girl also tend to be favorites. Fly Like a Bird. So she has a lot of mesmerizing vocal performances on the album that you just sit in awe of. But it's just special because a lot of legends, they don't get the chance to, you know, have that comeback, have that surge and everything like that. So that's important as well. And Equals MC Squared, I think over 400,000 copies sold first week as well. And she had Touch My Body as the number one on that album. So, you know, that propelled into Equals MC Squared. And yeah, it's just so special because of the massive success that she had with this era and everything. You were so used to seeing all the number ones and everything like this. She didn't get it for a while. She was really going through it and everything like that. And I feel for her watching her interviews at Charm Bracelet era. Like, they basically like, how do you know you're not going to jump off the ledge again, like mentally? Like, that's basically the questions that they were asking her. She was going through it, okay? And so for her to come out on the other side and have these massive hits that really did something for her, they helped the public image and everything, going out and doing live performances and being celebrated in the way that she should for her contributions to the music industry, I just think it was special. I just think it was special, okay? Not to mention that I like the deluxe cover more for the Emancipation of Mimi, the Ultra Platinum edition, like this pose and this dress. I do like that better. I do. But yeah, y'all know Mariah is my favorite artist of all time. I think that this is a really solid album for her in the discography. I think for the time that it was great. I think you had a lot of fun moments on here as well. And it was just the stamp she needed to become a legend, okay? A lot of people, this is their favorite Mariah Carey album. My favorite would be Butterfly personally, but hey, to each their own. But yeah, like, people are saying like, hey, this is the first album by Mariah that I remember listening to and being a staple for that time, selling as many copies as it did and just bringing her back to where she should be. Yeah. And I just don't know, if Mariah Carey doesn't release this album, her career is not in the same place. Her career is not in the same place. And I think it took a lot in making the right songs, marketing her right, having people believe in her to get to that point, which I ultimately do think that she deserved. But yeah, a monumental era, okay? And yeah, I'm telling you, go read those old album reviews. Whenever she was releasing Glitter, Charm Bracelet, go look at the press then and what people were saying about her. They really thought she was toast. And not only did she prove them wrong, she proved them wrong in such a monumental way. So yeah, that's kind of why the Emancipation Mimi is special and everything. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it because the new version of the album is coming out toward the end of May. So I'll talk about that when it comes out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. What were your favorite songs? What were you guys thinking kind of during the era? Like, how special was it for you to live through the era? So yeah, I was only like 4 or 5 years old. Okay, so I remember none of this. But just the research that I've done has brought me to this point. Did you go to the Adventures of Mimi tour? And we can have the conversation below.